The Capital One Venture X is one of the most hyped up, talked about, arguably was one of the best credit cards ever made in terms of the premium segment. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, it has been whittled away and it's not really as good as it used to be, particularly when it comes to lounge access. My name is Sean, and we're going to talk about that today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin, the other half of the Credit Card BS podcast. Today's episode is about how Venture X just destroyed its arguably most valuable perk. As Sean mentioned, the Venture X is a very easily justifiable card, even for the casual traveler. It comes in at a $395 annual fee, but it pays for itself because each year you get a $300 travel credit you can use on its travel portal, as well as 10,000 anniversary points, which are easily worth at least $100. So that brings effective annual fee down to around -$5. So they're almost paying you to keep the card, which is why it was very hyped up initially. Now, another big reason why a lot of people got this card was how generous it was with its lounge access. So not only does the primary card holder get a Party Pass membership, and that membership allows them to bring themselves plus 2 guests to 2 lounges. The Venture X also allowed you to add up to 4 authorized users for no additional costs. And each of these authorized users also get their own Party Pass membership that lets them bring 2 guests as well. So you can bring a lot of people with a single Venture X membership. Of course, there are also the exclusive Capital One lounges that you get through the Venture X card, which were quite valuable if you often flew into or out of one of those airports. Now, unfortunately, these changes are going to take effect on February 1st, 2026. So we're going to run through these changes first, but I also wanted to just put into perspective how unusual it is that they allowed all of these authorized users not to have to pay to get lounge access. So Sean, run through some examples of other premium cards and what they charge for authorized user.
Yeah, pretty much every other card is charging, for authorized user now. Like the Amex Platinum, I think it's at $175 a card if you want to get the lounge access. Sapphire Reserve used to be $75. Now with the new card, I think it's also $175 or $150. It's something very expensive like that. Even the airline cards that have had lounge access, like the AA Executive card, was really good because you could get Admirals Club access. And then the authorized users didn't cost anything, and you could also get Admirals Club access. But now they're charging for authorized users as well. I think it's almost $200. So it's kind of this, it's been this big trend of any card that even kind of had these are now shifting to these. You got to pay for authorized users to get lounge access, which, on the surface does make sense. I get it. But it is a shame because this was a really nice perk of the card where you didn't have to have you and your siblings and your friends and everyone get the card just to get lounge access. Let's say you got a group of 3 or 4 people you travel with all the time, and let's say you're at frequent airports with priority pass. You could have had just one of the people get a Venture X. Everyone's added as an authorized user, and then they all have priority pass. It was a really kind of nice set of features that existed, but now it's kind of, I don't know if there's any cards that still have free priority pass membership for authorized users. I think it's just the Altitude Reserve, which you can't apply for anymore, of course. Am I wrong on that?
I think the Altitude Reserve only gives Party Pass to the primary card holder as well, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't get it for the
though was
okay.
If you had multiple party pass, or if you had multiple party passes in your family already, you could issue that party pass to a different name.
That's what it is. Okay.
Altitude Reserve. As a one time. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like the Venture X having this generous lounge policy in the beginning was definitely not profitable. They did it just to acquire new customers as part of their marketing budget. We're kind of sort of in a credit card recession now where annual fees are going up and benefits are being whittled down. So these are the changes taking effect on February 1st, 2026. So for the Venture X personal card, you will now have to pay $125 per authorized user if you want them to have lounge access, and up to 4 authorized users. This also applies to Capital One lounges. So if you want your authorized user to have access to Capital One lounge, you also need to pay that $125 fee per year. This also applies to Venture X business card as well. Additionally, the Priority Pass memberships have no more complimentary guests. This applies whether it's the current or the primary card holder Party Pass membership, or even if you paid $125 for that authorized user to have that Party Pass lounge, Party Pass membership, that membership will no longer come with complimentary guests. You will have to pay $35 per guest each entry if you want to bring people in. For Venture X Business, you will still have those 2 free guests currently for Party Pass Capital One lounges, which is nice. But for the personal card, no more complimentary guests, $35 per guest. Sean, what's your reaction to this? And Are these fees something you would consider paying?
So for me, I don't think I would pay these just because I don't think the math works out because I'd rather take, for example, that 125 to apply to the annual fee of a new card, right? Like think about having one Venture X with one authorized user where you're paying an extra 125, or you just take that 125, apply it to a new Venture X. Venture X already still pays for itself anyways, I would argue. So now it's like, just a way better deal. I think the thing that is a bit of a shame is like the no guests in Priority Pass because that is a bit of like an extra strict change. Like there definitely are still cards that have Priority Pass memberships where you can bring in complimentary guests. So I think that's kind of like the most abnormal change I would say in this set because we just have seen a lot of other cards that have charges for authorized users that have lounge access. It is a shame, I will say. Like I get it though. Like I don't really get the no complimentary guests, but I get charging for the authorized users. It is a shame just to kind of see how the lounge benefits have just kind of been chipped away on this card.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because we love to complain about lounge overcrowding, but the reason that happens is because everyone and your mom has Party Pass membership with multiple guests. But then once they start needing to cut down or become more restrictive on lounge access, we also complain about it. So I think it's sort of a two-way street here. I mean, the overcrowding thing was a big issue with Delta lounges, especially earlier, especially once they let like platters go in, right? This is sort of to be expected. I think it was actually very shocking how generous the lounge access was when this card came out, and I sort of had a hunch that they wouldn't be able to sustain it for the long term. But like charging for an authorized user, sure, I sort of get, but on the personal Venture X, like having no complimentary guests, having to pay for guests is kind of crazy to me. Imagine like paying 125 for your authorized user, and then they themselves each time they use it with guests also have to pay for that guest. And like this is not the first change they've made to your Priority Pass membership, right? Previously, we had Priority Pass restaurants at the beginning of the card, and that was eliminated. And then they took away Plaza Premium membership from Venture X, even though now Plaza Premium is now under Priority Pass, so you can still sort of use it with Priority Pass. I'm just saying they keep dwindling down these benefits over and over again. Another interesting change is this new $75,000 spend threshold. So this is for both the personal and business Venture X cards. If you and eligible additional cardholders spend $75,000 in a calendar year, you'll be able to bring 2 complimentary guests into Capital One lounges and 1 complimentary guest to Capital One landings. This is valid for the rest of the year in which the SEK is spent and all of the following year. Now, notice that the additional guest access you get here is for Capital One lounges, not for Priority Pass. So even if you meet the 75K spend, you will still be paying that $35 per guest fee for Priority Pass guests on the personal Venture X. Spending 75K to unlock these free guests is solely for the Capital One lounges. Sean, is this spend threshold something you would try going for personally?
No. So this is probably like one of the weakest spend threshold like bonuses that I've seen on these like premium cards. Like almost every card. I mean, okay, like sure, the Amex Platinum kind of has the same stupid thing, but like, hey, at least there's a lot more like Centurion lounges, and at least like, getting a new like platinum card is a lot more expensive than it is a Venture X card, and like it's harder to justify. Like if I was even considering this, like, and I cared about someone so much I'd just like pay for their annual fee to get the card or whatever, or just like pay like I don't know. I mean, sure, like I guess maybe they can't open one. Capital One's like annoying with approvals, or whatever. But like I don't know. I would rather spend like the 75K on the Sapphire Reserve, the new Sapphire Reserve, than this for sure. But I think those perks are way better. Or doing something like spending it on the Hyatt card to earn like Hyatt milestones, or to spend it on the IHG card to get like IHG Diamond. I personally like don't. My thing is like I fly a decent amount, but when I fly, usually, right, like I try to make it business class internationally. I don't do that many domestic flights. So it's like I am someone that's like, well, if you already have an international business class lounge, like lounge access isn't as important to me. And also it's like how many Capital One lounge airports are you flying out of? Like maybe you're flying out of like, I think DFW has a Capital One lounge. Like maybe you're flying out of DFW every week. Okay, sure, fine. Maybe it's like really useful then. But like it's very situational.
So I generally agree with your take. I think though that spending 75K on a Venture X is less painful than spending 75K on a Sapphire Reserve or Platinum card because you're getting that minimum 2x multiplier. So the opportunity cost of putting your general spend on this card is not as great. That being said, I still think Capital One's lounge network is not expansive enough to worth like gunning for this high spend threshold just to get the additional lounge access. I'd rather just have my family members also try to get the Venture X if they really want to go to these lounges. The one thing that sort of terrifies me is the 75K lounge threshold. Amex has it now, Capital One now has it. The Sapphire Reserve in this new refresh added a 75K threshold, and you got these sort of random with it. I wonder if in a year or two, when they feel more confident in the expansiveness of the Chase Lounge network, they will also use that as a gatekeeper for being able to bring guests into the Chase Lounges. I would be surprised if I'm wrong about this, actually.
I think, yeah, I think you'll be right. I think that's probably kind of the new trend, which you have a very good point earlier that, like, yes, like we complain a lot about lounge overcrowding. And if this is the solution to it, I don't have a problem as long as, like, for the primary card holder, you still get like unlimited access. Because, yeah, I agree that, like, when you have a lounge that you have to wait in line to access, like, it kind of starts defeating the purpose of the lounge, right? Like, especially when you have maybe, because I'm not someone that, like, anymore at least, will go to the airport early for a lounge. Maybe if it's like a first class, super, super nice lounge, right? But like, let's say I'm flying on LAX, the Centurion lounge there is nice. But like, I'm not getting to the airport like any earlier than I need to necessarily to access that lounge. So sometimes it's like, I just want to hop in real quick, get a bite to eat, get a drink, and leave. Obviously, layovers are different, but it's like, if I gotta wait like 25 minutes to get in the freaking lounge, it starts to like, I don't even care at this point, right? So like, I think lounge overcrowding is a big problem. And if that's what it takes to solve it, and if they have the data that like, hey, by the way, like when we implement this, it actually makes our lounges like way less crowded. People seem to like them more. That's fine, because I think lounges should err on the side of like being a premium experience as opposed to like just being this like cattle call buffet, like, hey, everyone pile in for the free food that's like, keeps dropping in quality. So, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm okay with this.
Cool. Also, one thing to note, if you don't want to meet the 75K threshold but want to bring guests for the Capital One lounges, you can do that for a $45 guest per visit, $45 fee. If your guest is 2 to 17 years old, it's $25. And then if your guest is under 2 years old, it will be free. So that's another way you can bring guests into the Capital One Lounge. Again, if your authorized user wants to use the Capital One Lounge, you'll have to put them on a $125 per year plan. Okay, great. So that's our thoughts on how Venture X just destroyed its most valuable perk, access to lounges. If you agree or disagree with our takes, let us know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, found it informative, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel. It greatly helps support our channel. If you're interested in opening any credit cards, please consider one of the links down in the description below. It also greatly helps us. And Sean, why don't you plug our Discord?
Yes, if you want to connect with an elite group of credit card enthusiasts and award travelers entirely for free, check out the Travel Link Discord group at the link in the description. You will learn a ton, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.